Good Pasa YouTube, 6-foot hacks here. Got for you guys today a really good Showdown replay. But before I get into the video, I want to go ahead and apologize for not uploading yesterday. I got called in very last minute to work an 11-hour shift, so yeah, life kind of just threw a wrench in my YouTube plans there. But we're fine because I do have an upload for y'all. I didn't want it to be a replay, and I do kind of feel bad about that, but hopefully tomorrow I can have a Wi-Fi battle up because I really do want to get back into Wi-Fi. So hopefully y'all do enjoy tonight's video, and if you do, then make sure to hit the like button down below. It is just a second of your time. Also, for those of you who are wondering, I'm not going to be uploading replays all the time, maybe like once a week, but I don't know, some of you may think that's too common. Basically what I want to do with replays is, normally when I do upload a replay, to me it's a good enough game that's worth showing to you guys that I think y'all will enjoy. And this was the best replay that I had saved up with a team that I don't plan to do a live with because I've already done a live. I did it on the other channel. Some of you may have seen it, but if you would like me to do a live on this or with this team, then just let me know. And yeah, again, pretty solid game. I think this was during one of the NU tournaments because there was no points at the end. But again, a really good game in my opinion, so hopefully y'all do enjoy. So let's take a look at the team preview. I'm using a team that I got from my good friend Tennis. I play Tennis Law, of course. He's the Musharna. Calm Mind, Barrier, Stored Power Musharna pretty much destroys his entire team. But I have to get rid of the Rotom first due to the fact that it could potentially have Trick and that it could be Will-O-Wisp with Hex. So that is going to be a huge nuisance. Not to mention that if you look at my team and you look at Rotom, if it's not choiced, it pretty much destroys my entire team. I don't have Heal Bell on this Musharna, which means he can just Will-O-Wisp my Steelix, he can Hex me, he can Volt Switch freely. He can pretty much run rampant on my team, so I really have to make sure to watch out for this Rotom. Combuskin, depending on what kind of set it is, will determine how I can deal with it. As long as I keep Musharna healthy, I should be able to take Combuskin one-on-one. Floatzel, I have Musharna, and Mantine Sceptile, depending on what kind of set it is, could potentially be a huge issue if it's Specs. I ran into Specs Sceptile, and oh my lord, that thing is terrifying. So if this is Specs, that is going to be a huge pain. Rhydon, from the looks of his team, could just be defensive Rocks Rhydon, or it could be Rocks with Swords Dance or Rocks with Rock Polish, so I have to make sure to watch out for that. And then finally, Pelipper isn't really that big of an issue, however though it does 100% wall, or check I should say, my Samurai wall actually, because my only offensive moves are Water type moves and then Mega Horn. So yeah, the biggest issues going into this match were going to be Rotom and potentially Rhydon, depending on what kind of set he is. So I'm actually gonna lead off with my Steelix, thinking that he will lead off with the Rhydon, but he ends up leading off with a Rotom. So right off the bat, I switched directly into my Pyroar, confident in the fact that he wouldn't go for a Volt Switch, and luckily he doesn't. However though, he stays in. So my thought was, okay, if he's not choiced, then he's not going to stay in because I can hit him pretty hard with a Fire Blast. Even though I am Wise Glasses, I'm still going to be doing at least 50% to this Rotom or more. But he makes an extremely aggressive play. Stays in knowing I wouldn't go for the Fire Blast and predict him to switch out and Will-O-Wisp the potentially incoming Pelipper or Rhydon, mainly Pelipper. And he's going to go for the Volt Switch, knowing that Rotom is not really too bothered by the Will-O-Wisp, getting off a nice chunk of damage. Now Floatzel is extremely fast, so I'm going to be forced to switch out as I bring in my Mantine, which does pretty much take this Floatzel on 1v1 unless he has Hidden Power Electric, which I really wasn't thinking that he would have. I should have scouted out for it. And what I say by that is that here I should have gone for the Protect instead of just going straight for the Scald like I do. But I thought that maybe he would want to switch into Rotom. So I thought going for the aggressive Scald was by far the better play. As he's going to double into Rotom, I'm going to double into Hariyama. Now again, Rotom is a humongous issue to my team. So literally the best play for me to make here is hope that he does not Will-O-Wisp and burn my Hariyama, or hope that he goes for the Volt Switch or Shadow Ball. I guess he could go for Shadow Ball, but his better play is to either go for Will-O-Wisp or go for the Volt Switch. And I was really hoping that he would go for the Volt Switch and not go for the Will-O-Wisp, because earlier in the game I switched in my Pyroar onto the Will-O-Wisp, so I thought that would be the obvious play in this scenario, which means by leaving in my Hariyama, I'm able to knock off the incoming Pelipper's leftovers, making it a little bit easier for me to take down later in the game. However, though, I misplay, and he's able to burn me with the Will-O-Wisp, which honestly, it doesn't really matter, because as you can see here, I still do a huge amount of damage, and it turns out to be Spell Tag, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that. And he's going to get off a little bit more damage with the Hex, as I'm able to knock him out with a crit. If I had got the crit earlier, it would have mattered, but not in this scenario. And it's kind of cool that he actually does have Hex, because by getting off that extra damage with Hex, I'm basically in a scenario where I can either just fodder off Hariyama here, or risk switching in something for it to get burned unnecessarily or confused unnecessarily. So definitely just going to leave in Hariyama here for fodder. So Kyo's 400 pounds did come in handy for a bit there, being able to get rid of the Rotom. As I bring in my Mantine, by far my best play to do is go for the Toxic, because I basically poison whatever he brings in, which thankfully turns out to be the Full Zone, because I'm pretty confident he's going to go for the Taunt. I'm going to be able to protect here and just kind of start racking up this toxic damage on him, which is going to be really, really great to get rid of this thing that it outspeeds my entire team. As I go for the Scald, he makes a very ballsy switch in the Sceptile. The reason why I say that is because I know that he does not have Hidden Power Electric. He can literally do absolutely nothing to my Mantine, to where I would be threatened that he could beat me 1v1. So by far my best move was to stay in here and go for the Scald. I'm assuming that he thought I would expect him to go for Taunt again and maybe try and switch out into something else like Samurott or something. I'm not really too sure there. What I'm saying is him switching a Sceptile was really unnecessary in my opinion. Because as you're about to find out, he is he's Sword Dance, which does really catch me off guard, which you would think, okay, the burn mattered because he would be able to sweep me here. But I did run a calc after the match, and with the EV spread that I'm running, I think if he's adamant at +6, he only has about an 18.8% chance to knock me out if I'm not in sturdy range. Let's say I was around like 99 or like, I don't know, 95%. So yeah, unless he had got an extremely high damage or even at +6, that burn did not matter, and you're going to see that Steelix really doesn't do anything else in this match. So I knock out the Steelix because I am adamant, I knock out the Sceptile because I am adamant max attack. As he brings in the Combuskin, my safest switch in is Mantine, as I'm going to be able to eat the Fire Blast. He's going to go for the Protect. I was kind of expecting him to do that, but there was really no other play I could have done here. Alright, so sorry about that guys, I got interrupted. So he decides to Baton Pass his +2 to the Rhydon, which I actually did expect him to bring in. The reason why I say that is because if he was able to Baton Pass a +2 speed and he turned out to be Sword Dance, Stealth Rock's Rhydon, then he could have had a chance to actually win the game if I had gone for the Toxic, because then he could have outsped me and potentially knocked me out with either Stone Edge or Rock Blast if he got enough hits. Luckily though, I did decide to go for the Scald. I'm able to get off a huge hit on the Rhydon, as I'm going to be able to chew 3 Rock Blast. Now if he did get 5 here, that would have been very, very bad for me, because I would have had to rely on Musharna coming in and setting up barriers to beat this 1v1. And again, there was a chance that he was Sword Dance, Stealth Rock, Rhydon, which could have potentially set up alongside Musharna and either crit me or maybe beat me 1v1. I don't think he would have beat me 1v1, but unless he got really lucky and crit me. You get what I'm trying to say though. There was a slight chance that I could have lost if he did hit one more Rock Blast. Luckily, he did not. I'm able to knock him out with the Scald as he ends up bringing in the Floatzel. What I should have done here was gone for Protect, then gone for Scald and protected again. That would have been by far the better series of plays, and I guess if it was a legitimate tournament, that would have been the better play I would have done. But the series of plays that I make here doesn't really change anything. Just going for the Scald. He's still going to be in range of my Samurott's Aqua Jet, as I'm able to knock him out His best switching is obviously going to be Pelipper because, again, I have nothing. All of my offensive moves for Pelipper or to Pelipper are resisted. So I'm pretty much forced to switch out as I'm able to bring in Steelix here basically as death fodder. It really does nothing else in this battle. And if he had knocked me out earlier with Steelix, I mean with Sceptile, sorry, then I would have probably just sacked off Pyroar. But because I do have Pyroar, I know that a Hyper Voice won't knock him out, and I have Hidden Power Ice, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm going to do here is actually go for the Will-O-Wisp, because what I just said earlier could happen now. I could get very, very unlucky and lose this game because he can crit me with Hurricane, he can confuse me, and then I could hit myself in confusion, and then things could just go absolutely downhill from there. So I'm gonna bring in my Musharna in hopes that if he does burn me or confuse me or crit me or everything, that I can still have a chance to win if I'm able to get off one Moonlight, as long as it's not too late in the game. And luckily here, after he gets the burn, I'm going to get a little bit lucky and not hit myself in confusion and get the Moonlight off, which means his hard work that he just did, he's going to have to go through again. But I decided to be aggressive here, and I go for the Stored Power. I actually didn't think that he would switch out or that it would Oko Pelipper. I just wanted to see how much damage it would do, and then I would either decide to Calm Mind again or go for Stored Power again. But it turns out that it just Pelipper just died, and Combusting got O-code on the switch in, and that is going to be the 2-0 victory in my favor. Very, very close game. Definitely going for Scald on his baton pass to Rhydon was very, very crucial there, because Rhydon could have been a bit of a problem to my team if it did have Sword Stance. But hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, then you know what to do. Make sure to hit the like button down below. Let me know if you guys would like to see some more of these Showdown replays, and with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow. So later everybody, thank you all for watching.